Welcome back to Final Expense Telesales. My name is Dana Neeson. I'm feeling a bit spicy today. I have a little bit of a head cold, and I came here to help you absolutely destroy the I want to talk to someone objection. At the end of the day, that is the biggest smokescreen objection that you'll get, and I'm going to help you feel confident in handling that moving forward. If you are just now finding this channel, thank you so much for being here. I am the owner-founder of Empower Life Group. We are a telesales team specializing in simplified life insurance, and my job is to help you have stronger, more sophisticated, emotionally intelligent conversations. If you're interested in learning more about how to join Empower Life Group, all my contact information is in the description below. All right, let's get started. This might be one of the most advanced and emotionally intelligent responses to I want to talk to someone that I have ever written. In this framework, we're going to be walking through how to help the customers overcome their own fears, their own smoke screens, and help them shift that responsibility that they're trying to push onto someone else back to them. We want them to feel empowered to make this decision for their family. Anytime you get an objection at the end, especially the I want to talk to someone objection at the end, it's usually a smokescreen for one of the following. They either have fear of making the wrong decision, they're uncertain about the value, they either think that maybe it's not enough coverage for the price you're offering. They want to shift that responsibility to someone else to avoid the guilt of not doing it. Or 4, they're just looking for a reason to get off the phone with you and not tell you no. Because the truth is, when someone feels certain about putting this protection in place for their family, they don't really have anything to think about. They don't really need to go talk to someone. They won't say no. They will find a way to make it happen. And they certainly don't need permission from their kids to get it taken care of. But most sales agents fall for this. And what do? They give them the time that they need to talk to their kids. They schedule up that follow-up call, and then you're left ghosted with a graveyard full of follow-ups. And by letting them go, you're actually giving them permission to talk themselves out of it. So the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to help reframe their way of thinking to the way that we want them to think. We're going to show them the consequences of inaction, and then we're going to help them see who they need to become in order to make a decision. First, we're going to find out, is this logistics or is this fear? If your kids were here and they were on board, do you think this would be the answer for you? If they say yes, then get them to tell you why. Okay, and why do you believe it is? And if they think that it is and they've told you why it is, then we can go back in and try to ask for the sale again. If they still say no, then we know it's not logistics, it is actually fear. So what will you do then if you go to your kids and they tell you no, that they don't want you to put this in place for them? What will you do then? If they say that they're just going to do it anyway, you're going to say, well, tell me why, and make them defend their position. If they tell you that they're not going to do it if their kids say no, guess what? You don't have a buyer. If they say they're going to do it anyway, here's the key. Before you go lower the price and ask for the sale again, help them get some tools and make them feel empowered about the type of conversation that they should have with their kids. Instead of it being a what do you think conversation, we help them go to their kids and say, look, as a mom, as a grandma, as a dad, as a grandfather, I've made the decision that I want to protect my family. Here is what I did, and I want to make sure that money is the last thing that you have to worry about when I pass. Right? We help them present it from a position of strength, not from a position of permission. If they still decline, the next thing that we're going to bring in is a responsibility reframe. And I actually learned this from Johnny Mao. He likes to use the quote that says, have you ever heard heavy is the head that wears the crown by William Shakespeare? Because it's not the actual crown that feels heavy, it's the responsibility of the crown that feels heavy. And whether that's you or whether that's me or whether that's anybody else, someone has to take on that burden of responsibility to make sure our families are protected. Does that make sense? So when we shift that responsibility to somebody else, we no longer have control of the outcome and of who we're protecting. In your opinion, whose responsibility is it to make sure that your kids don't have to come out of pocket on their worst day of their lives? Is it their responsibility or is it yours? And when they say it's theirs, you need to say, well, why is it yours? Again, they need to defend their position and tell themselves why it's their responsibility. Then you follow it up with, is it even fair to put that burden of responsibility on somebody else if we're the ones that want to make sure that our family's protected? They're going to say, no, it's not. And then we're going to say, well, why is it not? Again, getting them to defend their position, to get them to see why talking to their kids is shifting that burden of responsibility onto someone else, and is that even fair? Then we move into the consequence question. So what happens if you do go to them and you leave the outcome to your kids? They say, no, dad, mom, I'm going to take care of it. What does that actually do for them? What type of position does that put them in? We have to let them sit in the consequences of not making a decision, regardless of whether their kids are on board or not. So as the head of the household, as the mom, as the father, as the grandfather, who do you need to become? Because if you go to your kids and instead of asking permission or putting that burden of the decision onto them, and instead you just tell them, this is what I did in order to protect you and my grandkids, what are they really going to be mad about? By doing this, we're now shifting their identity frame to one of fearful to one of empowerment. And none of this works, of course, if we aren't confident in our delivery of it. We have to stay calm. We have to stay neutral. We cannot put on pressure. We are guiding. We are not pushing. I hope this was helpful for you today. You might need to rewind this, watch this several times, write down the framework, put it into action, and watch the amount of people that you help overcome their fear of making a decision into clients for life. These are the people that will thank you for helping them, and you will love your job that much more. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next video.